Good afternoon and welcome to The Rundown. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, the 21st of October. Tax records show Trump maintained a Chinese bank account. A poll worker is fired for turning away Memphis voters wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts. State law does not allow voters to wear items with the names of candidates or political parties, but does not prohibit items with Black Lives Matter. And a judge ruled against Attorney General Daniel Cameron of Kentucky and will allow Breonna Taylor's grand jurors to talk about the indictment process. Ice Cube burns Eric Trump for tweeting a fake photo of him and 50 Cent. And how President Trump went to church and became every broke man at a strip club. Let's get to the news. President Donald Trump's tax records show that he has pursued expensive business projects in China for years and even maintained a Chinese bank account. The New York Times is reported on Tuesday disclosed that deals a blow to the president's efforts to paint a Democratic nominee Joe Biden as a presidential candidate who is soft on China. An analyst of Trump's tax records by the Times show that the president holds a previous unreported bank account in China that was not included on his public financial disclosure because it is held under a corporate name. Trump also maintains bank accounts in Britain and Ireland. The Chinese account, the newspaper said, is controlled by Trump International Hotels Management, and it paid $188,000 in taxes in the country from 2013 to 2015. While the tax record does not show how much money has moved through the Trump's foreign accounts, the Internal Revenue Service mandates that fillers disclosure the portion of their income coming from foreign countries. Trump International Hotels Management reported only a few $1,000s from China. While Trump has sought to paint Biden as on China throughout the general election, his own financial ties to the country stand in stark contrast. With the former vice president, those income tax returns and financial disclosures show no business dealings or income from China. In fact, the president's tax records show that he has invested at least $192,000 in 5 companies established to pursue projects in China over multiple years, according to the Times. Since 2010, the companies have claimed at least $97,400 in expenses. The new details gleam from Trump's tax records built on previous New York Times reports that detail how the president paid no federal income tax whatsoever in 10 out of the 15 years beginning in 2000, because he's reported losing significantly more than he made. In both years, he won the presidency, and in his first year, at the White House, Trump paid only $750 in federal income tax. Good afternoon, and welcome to The Rundown. Once again, I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and welcome to this segment of the show where I just like to give my personal opinions on the articles of this afternoon. So let's get started. And our first actual story up is, of course, about our lovely and devoted person of the hour, who is, of course, You'll know it when you hear it, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh, retard alert. Uh-oh, retard alert.
So, of course, as we get closer to the election, more and more stuff will just come pouring out.
Oh, hell no.
All right, so it seems as if they're coming for this particular president pretty hard. The New York Times has just released that the president's tax records show that he has a bank account in China. Now, this same president that always talks about how tough he is on China has been trying to do business with China for many years. So much so that he's been funneling money through his Trump International Hotels management and funneling as much as nearly $200,000, about $188,000 to be exact, in taxes in the country between 2013 and 2015. That means he's been paying China taxes, but he definitely hasn't paid the United States any taxes. Get into that one. But along with that, it shows that he has invested over $192,000, and he has only claimed expenses as far as $97,000. So, I mean, it's just a lot. And not to mention that this president has not paid any income taxes for the 10 out of the 15 years that, he's been claiming that he really hasn't been making any money off of his properties and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, hell no!
So, this president has really been getting over and making it.
That was easy.
While other people have been really, being put out there and their finances being exposed. They've been able to lose jobs. A lot of entertainers have lost jobs. A lot of movie stars have pretty much lost their careers due to having problems with their taxes.
You stupid.
And the fact that he can walk around and say, well, it's because you didn't hire the right people to help you cheat through the tax code is really like a...
Gotcha, bitch!
And that's kind of messed up. But shout out to the New York Times for pulling it all out.
Why the fuck you lying? Bitch, I hope the fuck you do. You'll be a dead son of a bitch, I tell you that.
Because this is getting crazy. I can't wait till more comes out about this man. Because he always claims of how
I'm really rich.
And we're starting to see that he might not be
I'm really rich
as he thought he was. But I'm here for all of it. So bring on any more.
Grab him by the pussy.
Or anything else you have, because this will be an interesting 14 days to come. So buckle up, everybody, because pretty soon you might be hearing
FBI, open up!
on the White House door. A poll worker in Memphis, Tennessee has been fired after turning away early voters who were wearing Black Lives Matter and I Can't Breathe t-shirts, an election official said on Monday. The worker was fired on Friday after officials received a call from a witness at the Dave Wells Community Center in Memphis. Shelby County Elections Commission spokesperson said that Tennessee law does not allow voters to wear items bearing the name of a candidate or a political party in the polling place, but the state law does not prohibit statements such as Black Lives Matter. The number of voters who were told to leave was not immediately known. The poll worker thought the statement was tied to the Democratic Party. Early voters turned ahead of the November 3rd election has been strong in Memphis and throughout Tennessee. Early voting ends on October 29th. In this next particular story, this story is a bit troubling. In certain states, you cannot wear political buttons and things of that nature when you're actually going in to vote. Now, not every state is like that, but some states are, where you can't wear anything promoting the party or the candidate while you're walking into the polling place. However, any other graphic tees, as long as it's no cursing or anything of that on it, are fined. Are fine, not fined, but fine. And it seems that the Memphis Board of Elections, a pollster, was fired because they denied entry to people wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts, as well as I Can't Breathe t-shirts. Now, these t-shirts, of course, in protest to the police brutality that has been going on across the country for many years, but has just been brought to life from the death of a few people of color.
Oh, hell no!
So the Board of Elections has fired this pollster. The excuse of the pollster, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but basically they said that they thought the Black Lives Matter and I Can't Breathe was a part of the Democratic Party.
Shut up!
Now, that's the problem, and that's partly fault to the media, them being the ones actually spewing it out, not really explaining the difference between the movement or the bringing awareness to the movement through t-shirts like Black Lives Matter and lawn signs and things of that nature, and actually separating it from the actual party.
Oh, hell no!
So I think the definitely media has a lot of explaining to do to kind of better educate the people, whether it's Fox News or anybody else, to better educate the people in the differences and not necessarily tying these movements to particular parties, because definitely the I Can't Breathe coming from the gentleman that was killed in a chokehold, along with George Floyd, who also said he couldn't breathe, and many others who claimed they could not breathe at the hands of the police and wind up expiring, and just Black Lives Matter in general. That brings awareness to the fact that there have been no charges pretty much brought to anybody who is really any police officer rather that has killed a person of color. So yeah, it just brings to light a lot of things and the way people think and their authority, or the authority that they think they have to actually turn people away. It's a bit much, especially when you're already working for the Board of Elections. Kind of crazy.
Bye, Felicia.
But anyway, to other news.
Boy.
A Kentucky judge has sided with the anonymous grand juror, ruling that members of the grand jury can speak freely about the proceedings in the Breonna Taylor case because it ultimately serves the interests of all citizens to have confidence in the integrity of the justice system. The Kentucky Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, has fought to keep jurors silent on the processes after releasing 15 hours of recorded video earlier this month. Cameron, who serves as the special prosecutor in the Taylor case, argued that allowing grand jurors to talk about the process will irreversibly alter Kentucky's legal system by making it difficult for prosecutors and the public to have confidence in the sanctity of the grand jury process going forward. Cameron also argued that allowing grand jurors to speak could compromise former Louisville Metro Police Officer Brett Hankinson's right to fair trial. Hankinson was the only person charged in connection to the police raid on the 26-year-old Taylor's apartment, but not for causing her death. His 3 counts of warning engagement were based on the shots fired outside of Taylor's home, causing danger to her neighbors. The grand jury came forward in September following an announcement of indictment in the case. The contest public remarks Cameron had given explaining the decision-making process. Cameron initially said that jurors agreed with prosecutors that no one should be directly charged with the killing of Taylor. The Attorney General also claimed that he walked jurors through every homicide offense and also presented all of the information that was available to the grand jury. But the jurors who have remained anonymous said that it wasn't the case. On Tuesday, the jurors released a statement through an attorney. The grand jury was not presented any charges other than the 3 wanton engagement charges against Detective Hankinson. In the statement, it read, the grand juries did not have homicide offenses explained to them. The grand jury never heard anything about these other laws. Self-defense or justification was never explained either. Questions were asked about additional charges, and the grand jury was told there would be none because the prosecutors did not feel they could make them stick. The grand jury also did not agree to certain actions which were justified, nor did it decide the indictment should be the only charges in the Breonna Taylor case. The jurors continued that the grand jury was not given the opportunity to deliberate on those charges and deliberated only on what was presented to them. I cannot speak for other jurors. I can only speak for myself. I can help the truth be told. And then this next particular case, actually dealing with the grand juror or grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case. So if you, of course you should know, but if you didn't know, the Attorney General for Kentucky, Daniel Cameron, who was also the appointed special prosecutor in the Breonna Taylor case, basically tried to shove past and push along this case, but basically saying pretty much nothing to see here. The grand jury has decided not to charge any officer. The only officer or former officer that has been charged was the officer who wound up firing and hitting a neighboring apartment to Breonna Taylor's. And, nothing to see here, move along. However, one of the grand jurors decided that they needed to speak out.
Gotcha, bitch!
That there was a lot more evidence that they were not told.
Gotcha, bitch!
And that kind of lit a whole new fire to this whole situation. So, to give you a quick rundown, the grand jury, of course, is made up of law enforcement officers, some detectives, some clerks, lawyers, judges, a whole realm of people in the Justice Department, right? So, and they could be retired or, actually still working duty. It's the same thing like we do civil. Being a jury, your number gets called and you listen to the case, so on and so forth. So you know how that goes. So that's basically how the grand jury works. However, it's far more secretive. So if the grand jury does not think your case is worth a trial, usually there is no trial that happens. But in this particular case, somebody in that grand jury sat there and felt like this is wrong and this is pretty much a huge cover up, and they were not here for any of it.
Oh, hell no!
So immediately after it was over and the verdict was given that there was no officer who was going to be charged, the one anonymous juror started to speak up and said, no way, we're not having that.
Damn!
And proceeded to get a lawyer and have his lawyer ask the judge to open up the case, meaning to allow the grand jurors to speak freely about what evidence they were not given, what charges they were not given to file against all the officers involved in this, and not just one officer. And of course, Daniel Cameron basically jumped ahead of the gun saying, oh, there was nothing there, everything went by the book, the officers did nothing wrong, covering this up, trying to make everything go away so that the hoopla around it and the marches and the protests and all that would kind of die down because they had an election to win. All this was to clean it up as soon as possible so they can move forward with the election, because the longer this hung around, the worse the numbers would start to look. So it was a clean sweep. But they did not anticipate the judge basically telling them, oh, sweet Jesus, let me kill this nigga. They definitely did not kind of expect that from the judge, because the judge said, oh, no. I will allow the jury to speak freely and let them to speak their truth, and so that the people can see and have respect and integrity for the justice system, I will allow them, I will allow them to be able to see everything that's going on. So boy, this definitely puts a rank in Mitch McConnell's plan. This puts a monkey wrench in Daniel Cameron's plan. This even puts a monkey wrench, in the president's plan, because I'm sure he has wanted to kind of close this case and move forward so he can move on with his political career and, go on to other things. But this is just been hanging over his head, hanging over Mitch McConnell's head, because of course he is the senator out of Kentucky facing re-election. Even though he may win his seat, this still puts a lot of pressure on him. It's still kind of early. He may have a 10-digit lead now, but there's still 14 days, 13 to 14 days. And in those days, a lot of things can happen. So, this was trying, almost like, when your mom said, hey, clean your room, and you kind of threw everything in the closet, like, oh, it's clean. And then she'd go and open the closet and all this stuff come falling out. That's pretty much what's happening here. They tried to clean this up as quick and as clean as possible, give the family a large amount of money so they can't speak out. But somebody in the grand jury decided, oh, no, if you can't speak, I can speak. Because I can't speak for every juror, but I can speak for myself. And I just want the truth to be told, that we were not given any information in reference to the other officers. Plus, we were told that the other officers were not to be charged, that no officer was going to get charged. The only person they was going to charge was, like I said, the officer who shot the shots that hit the neighboring apartment, because of course their goal was to kind of pin the reason why they did not charge the officers on Breonna Taylor's boyfriend shooting back at the police to defend themselves because they broke into the apartment. Same kind of case. Like I said before, I think that they were going in that apartment looking for money, that they thought they knew that the assailant was a drug dealer, and they figured he had money somewhere stashed in her apartment because that was the last known address that they had for him. And they figured that he probably had money stashed there. And their whole goal was to rob him. There was no kind of, oh, we need to get some evidence on him, or we're trying to sneak on him with a no knock warrant. I really think they were going in there thinking that they were going to find some drug money. And they were wrong. And they don't have no other way to kind of cover it up. I mean, yeah, some other people have said, I've heard some people say that maybe she knew something about these officers, and maybe this was a hit on her. Yeah, I mean, that could possibly be true too. But I don't know. I just have this gut feeling that they were going in there looking for money, thinking that they were going to rob this man, take his drug money, and, kind of reset a little bit. Because understand, we are still in a pandemic. And at that time, the pandemic was just starting, pretty much we were just kind of getting aware of this pandemic. So they might have known that something was coming, coming across the line a little quicker than we all may have known. And they were trying to prepare themselves, kind of, racking up as much money as possible. So, we don't know. And they could have been part of a system too. They could have been a part of a system with that boyfriend, and knowing that he had money because of the drug deals that maybe they were privy to, because they were kind of helping as long as they were getting paid. And this was their, we want our money kind of situation. So who knows? But yeah, and that's thanks to watching all these movies. But yeah, I mean, it really seems to be playing out like one of those Hollywood movies, which is unfortunate that lovely queen like Breonna Taylor had to lose her life over this foolishness. But it's even worse that none of the officers are actually going to be held accountable. Ice Cube may be working with President Donald Trump on the contract with Black America, but did not call it an endorsement. Eric Trump learned that lesson the hard way on Tuesday after posting a manipulated photo showing Ice Cube and fellow rapper 50 Cent wearing hats bearing Trump's 2020 logo. The post came a day after 50 Cent announced he was voting for Trump, even though the president doesn't like black people due to Biden's tax plan. But while Ice Cube said that he is willing to work with whichever party is in power, he wasn't happy when Trump's second-born son tried to turn that into an endorsement by tweeting this now deleted, manipulated photo. Alright, now because that last story I spent a good 10 minutes talking about it just about, this one will be pretty short. But it also deserves this, I know this is usually saved for the President of the United States, but he's a close relation, so I think he gets it too. And here we go.
Uh-oh, retard alert. Uh-oh, retard alert.
So this retard alert goes out to Eric Trump. So, of course, those of you who do know or may not know that the rapper / director, actor Ice Cube has been promoting this Black Initiative agenda to push for whoever happens to be in power either now or after the election, and talking about, I guess, some sort of plan for Black Americans, not people of color, not just strictly for Black Americans. Now, why I think, okay, it's a great idea. There are certain ways you go about it. And I think sometimes, the militant approach, although sometimes it's cool, at certain times it's like, there's a way you go about it. And I think the aggressive tone for them, you got to know who you're dealing with. And the aggressive tone, although it works for you in the music business, politics is a little different. I mean, we all seen, or some of us have seen, straight out of not Straight Outta Compton, you hear me? Yeah, I think it was Straight Outta Compton, or NWA, whatever the movie was called. I think it was Straight Outta Compton. And your character played by your son, of how, aggressive he was and didn't take no nonsense. Politicians and politics is a little bit of a different game. Because, you come at them too hard, they can upend your life, almost like doxing on YouTube. So, with that said, it's like, I feel you, brother, but there's a way you go about it to actually get your point across, because sometimes you'll just wind up looking angry, and that's not necessarily, although you have every right to be angry, that's necessarily not the angle you want to go about. But anyway, in his promoting of this agenda, and being open to talk to the Trump administration, who has not even proven to really do anything for African Americans up until the election day, when he comes out with this platinum plan, whatever that is.
Uh-oh, retard alert!
So anyway, Eric Trump, that dum-dum, found a picture of, and it probably wasn't him, it could have been a staff worker or whatever, found a picture of 50 Cent, the rapper 50 Cent, and Ice Cube together, and they just kind of photoshopped the hat that Ice Cube did have and made it a Trump hat. I mean, it's really sad and ridiculous, but of course there you see it in the picture, and there you also see the actual original hat, which I think, this is like, what are we doing here? But again, that is the type of atmosphere they play. They play on this game of media. No, you didn't see it. Yeah, you saw it. No, you didn't see it, but you really saw it. That kind of the little card thing when you go to the cities and they're doing the little shuffling thing and they're like, okay, where did it go? It's like, come on, we're not children. Get off it. But I really think he should wait. He should definitely, if you have a plan, have it scoped out, as far as fiscally scoped out. Just not words. Actually have a plan with financial backing, a possible way for it to maneuver, not just words. We got to get out this thing of, we want it this way, and that's it. You got to have a full plan, not just words and anger, but a full plan in order to move something forward. Hey, this is Captivating Christian here to remind you to tune in to Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And be sure to join Jay Wilson, Rebel Sun, The Official Kingpin, Conscious TV, and Captivating Christian this and every Thursday at 6:45 Central Standard Time, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time for the Gentleman's Panel, where we are not afraid to go there and discuss an array of topics. See you there. President Donald Trump went to the International Church of Las Vegas on Sunday, and he looked just as uncomfortable as most men do when they walk into a strip club sober. But that wasn't what connected him with every man across the continental United States. That was reserved for the moment when he had to drop money in the collection bucket. The president pulled money from his wallet, flipped through it, counted it, held it up to the sky so the people in the back could see that there were indeed $20 bills. He shuffled through them in his hand. He leaned over and whispered to Melania, "I'm about to put all of these 20s in the money bucket." He then balled one of the 20s up, shook it in his hand like dice. He then picked the 20 up and smoothed it out over his knee before finally placing it in the bucket. It's a pandemic and the economy is in shatters. And
retard alert!
And this other one is self-explanatory. I mean, I think we've all had a moment where we were in church and money was kind of funny, and it was like, well, I don't really want to give all this money to the church because I still want to go to the store, I still want to buy something. So how about I give this amount and keep the rest for myself? And
shut up and take my money.
That's just what the president did in this church in Las Vegas. However, might I add, he looked like he's never been to church in a minute because he looked quite uncomfortable, like he didn't know what to do with himself, and quite fidgety, as if he had some kind of attention deficit disorder.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yeah, so something was on his mind. But as you can see, Hope Hicks was sitting next to him. So I don't know what that was about. I don't know if Melania went to go use the bathroom or whatever it was. But that was Hope Hicks, the woman who has the coronavirus, who allegedly infected everyone. So I don't know. That just looked a little too close for comfort, but...
Oh, hell no!
But anyway, he did take that money. He fumbled it around in his hand like a little kid when you give, a kid $1 and say, hey, put this in the basket. And they looking like, do I want to give it all away? I do want to go to the store and get some candy after church. So I don't know. It just looked really childish. And you could clearly tell he's never stepped foot inside a church ever. He's only doing that just to appease part of his voting bloc, the white racist Christians that utilize Christianity and Jesus to still be racist bigots and tell women what to do with their bodies.
Shut up!
But most of them are.
Why you being a dickhead fool? Stop being a dickhead.
And it's better because the more you know, the more you grow, right? Yeah, so maybe let's just get Trump together. And how about we just say this prayer together, that Trump gets the hell out of office and we could have some sort of resemblance of the United States of America. Just maybe. I hope so. I pray for that day. Once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification